It's episode 1243, and it's the Relevant Podcast. Woo! All right, here in Orlando, I'm your host, Cameron Strang. Joining me from Loverland, Virginia is Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
From Nashville, Tennessee, our managing editor, downtown Emily Brown.
Hey, y'all.
And from LA, from Social Club Misfits, it's Marty.
What's going on?
What is going on? Do you hear this music, people? This is our new era, our new theme song, custom produced by Marty. One of one. Look at this. New era kicking off. Now, granted, I don't know how to start the show now because we used to have like a person doing it and all this kind of stuff. And so we'll have to figure that out. But this is the new music. This is the new soundtrack of your lives. Soak it in, people.
Love it.
It's exciting.
Marty, I want to get inside the head of the artist right now. And whenever you approach any sort of project, I know there's probably some mood or emotion or feeling or idea that you're trying to communicate through the sound. What harder task could there be than trying to, in an audio way, capture the energy and complexity and nuance of the Relevant Podcast? Tell me the creative process of sitting down to write this.
All right, here's the truth. I was thinking about what is a good iconic song, right? My first idea was John Cena walking, like the John Cena theme song.
Mm-hmm.
Da, 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 welcome. And that's kind of how I even thought Cameron would intro the show, like screaming.
Yeah.
But
Maybe I will. Maybe I will next week. Who knows? We haven't found it yet. Yeah.
Back in the day, as a joke, I would put the song on and then walk into a room like da, 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 like I was like a wrestler. And so I was like, I need something. Yeah, as normal people do. And so when I made this song, I was like, I want it to be iconic. So the first, we just get hype and excited about it. So I'm really blessed, and thank you, Cameron, for letting me do it. But yeah, cool.
Yeah,
very
man.
cool.
Thank you for doing it. Listeners, we've been progressing and evolving the show. New release day every week, just Fridays. We launched the Relevant Podcast Instagram account last week, put up a poll based on Jesse's story about who do you want to be trapped next to on a long flight, the farting guy or the snoring guy. Mm-hmm. Snoring guy won in a landslide, Jesse.
Well,
FYI.
Some people voted farting, and I think they lied. I need them to go back to our comments and explain why you would want to sit next to a farting guy over a snoring guy.
So new Relevant Podcast Instagram account, and now this week, new theme song kickoff. Now, like I said, I haven't figured out the production details of like how to intro and outro the show. I just wanted to play some cool music. So that's the new song. And over the next few weeks, you guys will hear us figure out the actual structure of the intro and outro. But that's the theme song. So there
John Cena, inspiration.
I like that idea because it makes me want to like reset my phone alarm, so I wake up just pumped,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's horns. The horns. Horns.
What else would work is like the 90s era Chicago Bowl intro music,
Yeah.
For those of us who may not know it, can someone sing it for us?
There is no words. There is only emotion and greatness. I was
singing the NBC song.
That's Round Ball Rock.
Well, by the way, there's a clip going around, and maybe it's just my algorithm. I doubt it's going viral everywhere, but I seem to get it all the time in my reels. And it is John Tesh at what appears to be a massive John Tesh concert.
Yes.
Sometime it appears to be in the late 90s. And he is running around the stage like he's got all these keyboards everywhere. And he's wearing a fantastic vest. Outfit. Yeah, he's got the vest.
Sequence.
This looks like people signed up to go to, it was a classy night out. Okay, you're going to see John Tesh. You wear your fancy duds. And at one point, and his hair is just amazing. And he runs over to the microphone and he's like, I want to play a voicemail for you. And I think he has a tape recorder because this is iPhone. And he plays a tape recorder from an answering message machine. And it's him going, this is John Tesh leaving a message for John Tesh NBA theme song. And he's just mouthing it. And then he goes and plays it.
Jesse, how crazy did that crowd go? That was like the end of 8 Mile. Like that was the end. Like that was such a crazy moment that everyone's like going like absolutely nuts because they're like, oh, did it? And he's playing it live with the full band. It's different.
It was like watching that YouTube documentary back in the day when they start playing like With or Without You, that like guitar part. It was bigger than that. Yeah.
And so the NBA is coming back to NBC next season, and they are bringing back the theme song, the classic John Tesh Round Ball Rock. So it's going to be a thing. So Emily, you will know what we're talking about in that juncture. But I'm telling you, with the March Madness going on, totally different theme song, totally different channel. But basketball theme songs are in my brain, and I'm telling you, the Dave Tesh SNL sketch where he's singing the lyrics to Round Ball Rock, basketball, give me the ball, so I'm gonna dunk it. Like that's been playing in my head for a week straight.
The Tim Robinson,
the lyrics, the Tim Robinson lyrics, not the actual music.
Yeah.
But anyway, Emily,
basketball.
Yeah, Emily, here's the Chicago Bulls intro, specifically from Game 6 of the 1997 NBA Finals.
Oh, good.
This is how I want to wake up to my phone. But
pretty epic right here.
Oh, these graphics. Oh, wait, I have heard this. Okay.
They knew how to do it.
I think they could arguably replace the national anthem with this.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think people would be in.
Yeah.
The light on the crowd too, like the LED light that's just circling. I was at games like this and I was freaking out. They knew how to put on a show.
I'm hyped. I mean, I know it's been 20 years, but I'm still hyped.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. They do. It wasn't the Bulls though. Only it was the '90s NBA knew how to put on a show.
Yes.
As an Orlando Magic fan, we have an iconic theme song that kind of came back, like ironically and nostalgically, in the last couple of years. That when the Magic win, everybody else play the song, and this original 1989 theme song starts playing. And it's because I was there at the first game with my dad in the last row of the upper bowl of the Magic, and pre-game, the first game in Orlando history, they had this whole 20-minute intro sketch where like there's wizards and dragons and this crazy theme song and stuff. And it's like, I'm telling you, the 90s NBA era was theatrical. It was amazing. And I bring it back.
Emily, you've heard this song before. Oh, it's magic.
Shut up.
That's a great song. They could have used that.
Yeah,
honestly, it's such a good song.
You believe in magic. Yeah,
that's another one. The pilot song.
There's a lot of great theme songs.
Yeah,
here.
right.
I've got the magic. Now, I will say this real quick. I brought this up a few months ago back in when... Well, I was going to say in different political times. It's all been insane since I brought this up the initial time. And we're just randomly renaming the Gulf of, America or whatever, where I said they could just now, if we're ever going to replace national anthems, now's the time because they're just randomly doing stuff. If they replace the current national anthem with the Chicago Bulls theme song, dun, 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 and they just had an announcer shouting things about America, founded in 1776. Freedom, Constitution, Bald Eagles. And that was a new national anthem.
Listen to this. This is the 1989 theme song of the
It's
Orlando
like a
Magic.
Michael McDonald song.
Abracadabra, Razzmatazz, Slam Dunk Sesame.
Slam Dunk Sesame.
This could be the national anthem.
Is there any other NBA team that has the swag to have a yacht rock jam as their theme song?
Oh man. Anyway,
That's awesome.
Yeah, the only NBA team that runs out to a yacht rock jam. Yeah, I love it.
Well, speaking of confidence, so confident that you can pull off yacht rock vibes. Not that that's his vibe. Our guest today is Aloe Blacc. I mean, one of the coolest artists we know of. You remember his epic song, the intro? Speaking of epic intro songs, for How to Make It in New York.
One of my favorite songs. I listen to it right now. I can see the Helvetica new font in my mind.
Helvetica.
You're from Helvetica, right?
Well, we knew.
That song is, when I think of New York, and I was telling Cam earlier, but this song in particular kind of like stamps a certain era of New York for me that was just the best era of New York that we can't go back to. It was just the absolute best era. Brooklyn was still a little cheap. It wasn't expensive. Things were affordable. There wasn't so many matcha coffee shops everywhere. And, man, I miss that. But that song locks in that feeling. And I love Aloe Blacc, one of my favorite songs. I always joke around how my song for my son is Aloe Blacc, I'm the Man. So
nice.
I'm the man. I used to sing that for my son in the morning.
Are you singing it about yourself or speaking it over him?
My son, like my son, he's like, he's the man, like Apollo's the man.
Is it a Simba thing, or is it you telling your kid to keep him in his place? I'm the man, I'm the man. What do you?
No.
Okay.
I think because he was so small, like when I first brought him back, because if you don't know, my son was born 2 months early. So when he was born, he was 2 pounds, but when we pulled him from the hospital, I think he was 7 pounds. So he was super small. So like I would just like overexert this, like, you're the man,
That's cool. Him. That's really cool.
That is cool, because every night I sit my family down on the couch and I stand in front of them and stare at them each.
And you do an interpretive dance to that song.
Yes, because I want them to be reminded who's the man.
That's right. So Aloe Blacc's coming up
every night.
Aloe Blacc's coming up. At the end of the show, we have another edition of Ask the Cast. But stay tuned. After this break, it's Relevant Buzz. Every day without knowing Jesus. If you could reach him faster, would you? If you could build reproducing churches right now, would you? If there were people with the language and cultural understanding to share the gospel, would you support them? If there were a way to reach the unreached that was guaranteed to work, would you make the investment? Right now, local national believers are already making disciples, but they lack the resources to plant more churches and train more church planners. This is a new wave of missions. This is how we reach the unreached as quickly and efficiently as possible, there and now. Find out more and get involved at thereandnow.org. Okay, it's time for
Relevant Buzz.
Tell us what's happening at the intersection of faith and culture this week, Emily.
Okay, so right now we are right smack dab in the middle of Lent. And a big part of Lent, obviously, is fasting. Now, as Christians, we know fasting is a big deal. Talked about a ton in the Bible. Jesus did it. A lot of churches do it either this time or at the beginning of the year. Do y'all's churches do fasting at all?
No, we don't believe in that.
We do it in January. It's like mid-January. It's like, I don't know. Do we not want to be confused with the Catholics? So we don't do it during Lent. We do it like before Lent. We do it like mid-January to mid-February. I think a lot of non-denoms.
So you do a month-long one.
It's like 21 days of prayer and fasting. And I think a lot of non-denom churches that started through the ARC organization all do the same rhythm, 21 days of prayer and fasting at the beginning of the year. Anyway. But long answer to your question. Yes, we do.
Okay. Well, I think it's safe to say that we all know sort of the spiritual benefits of fasting. Again, Bible talks about it a lot. But now science is actually starting to discover that fasting might be good for your body, too.
We kind of knew that, right? Like, it's good to shed a few pounds kind of thing, or no? Like a detox?
Yeah, but it's not just like a weight loss thing. That's what they're discovering.
Oh, it's like a brain thing. It's good for your brain.
Sort of. Okay. So what MIT has discovered, and they just released this in a new study, is that the researchers looked at the effects of intermittent fasting and low calorie diets. And they found that in addition to helping with weight, like we said, they actually also regenerate intestinal stem cells. So what that means is your gut lining, which typically takes a beating from things like inflammation, injuries, medications, they actually bounce back faster and stronger after a fast. So your body kind of kicks into overdrive mode and it rebuilds and heals your intestinal lining. And in a way, it's sort of like a reset button for your body.
You know what this is going to do? You know, all these people that kind of like view Jesus's teachings as like a self-help wellness kind of roadmap. They're going to co-opt this and be like,
you're right.
Take more of Jesus's teachings and be like, see, this is good for holistic wellness and stuff. Boo.
Listen, I don't think that's a bad thing. Why not?
There's
however
books
they get
about
there.
to drop for this on TBN if you give $20. Like, this is the book that goes for free that they send to you if you send a love offering of at least $10.
We're preaching the virtues of seed faith and seed oils. Stay tuned. Regenerate your intestinal stem cells.
It actually sounds like, what's the silver product that they used to sell? Anyway.
That actually brings me to someone who is a fasting advocate for both spiritual and physical reasons. And that would be Chris Pratt.
Oh, Mr. Pratt.
Yes.
Okay.
So back in 2019, he actually went on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert and started talking about a fast that he did through his church. Now, Stephen asked if he was doing it just to cut weight for all the films he was doing, but Chris said that he was actually doing it with his church. He was doing the Daniel fast, which is the one that lasts for 21 days. You don't have meat, sugar, or alcohol.
Boring. Sorry.
Yeah, basically.
What can you have? Yeah.
Well, that was kind of the joke. Like Colbert did start off kind of like in a jokey way, but Chris actually turned it to sort of a deeper spiritual message. And I was actually really surprised how he talked about it. And since it's Lent, this clip's going around again, I wanted to share it with y'all. So here's what Chris had to say.
About this before you're on here, and many people who are in the superhero movies, I don't want to say like, how'd you get in the buff shape and all that kind of stuff. Right. But you've taken it a step further. You've taken it beyond just lifting weights and like, and lean meats to something called the Daniel fast.
Yes.
What is the Daniel fast?
This is something I did just in this year. I just came off it a couple days ago. It's a 21-day fast. That's kind of, a lot of people are doing it. I did it through my church. It's based on Daniel.
The book of Daniel?
The book of Daniel.
The prophet?
The prophet Daniel from the book of, from the Old Testament, the book of Daniel. He was a guy who, only ate fruits and vegetables and grains and didn't have any leavened breads and didn't have any animal products. And so I was inspired by my pastor. We do it. It's kind of like our Lent, give something up. And so for 21 days, I had no meat, no sugar, no alcohol. And it was actually amazing. It was really cool. Yeah, thank you. If you know how much I drink, you know that 21 days.
Is any part of the component being thrown into a lion's den? Because that's one of the few things I know about Daniel is that, you throw me in with some lions and fight them, I'll get in shape real quick.
Sick cardio. Yeah, lion fighting is sick cardio. Yeah, for sure. We do that on the last day.
You've already controlled dinosaurs.
Yeah. Lions are not that difficult. Not that different.
No.
Yeah. No.
Do you ever feel like you're in the lion's den by being like a celebrity in the public eye with the people always trying to figure out what's going on with Chris Pratt and the cameras pointing at you? You ever feel like you're in the lion's den, Chris Pratt?
Oh. Yes. Yeah. I suppose I do. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
But if you haven't read the book of Daniel, go check it out. It's pretty cool. But he lives, and
what? Give it away. Spoiler.
I need to get better. I need to get better at promoting things.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. You do. But I just recently. I wish I could remember who this quote is by. I'm going to post it after this because the name has slipped my mind right now. But there's this great quote that I actually heard in church, and it felt like it really appropriate, which was, if the spotlight that's shining on you is brighter than the light that comes from within you, it'll kill you. And you see it all the time.
Wow.
And
I like that.
People in our position, people that are actors, you see it a lot, It's a real bright spotlight.
If you don't have enough of a self to share, then you can get swamped.
If you don't have a life, sometimes just having a self to share is what kills you, because there's nothing left. So you have to have a light to share. You have to have a light that's just as bright as any of these lights, and then you can survive. Then you can save some of yourself and not give it all away.
Wow, I like that.
Thanks, man. It's true.
I do. No, it's true.
I wish I could remember that quote. It's from a pastor. She's a female. I'm going to post it tomorrow on Instagram or, also speaking of tomorrow, the Lego movie.
Look at Colbert trying to make a little funny moment, and Chris Pratt saying, "No, thank you, sir. We are going back to fasting. I'm going to land this point." So good job, Pratt. But
yeah.
Nothing funny about fasting, Colbert. Nothing.
My intestinal lining needs to be rebooted.
Don't ever make a joke about my intestinal lining.
These intestinal stem cells aren't rebooting themselves here, Colbert.
Let me tell you something. The glow up that Chris Pratt did, it should be studied. I feel like watching Parks and Recs and then seeing him on this interview, and I'm like, okay. It's like that movie, The Substance, where the best version of him just ripped out of him. I'm like, how did you go from Danny DeVito to Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Well, do you remember on the show they had to address it because it was one of the later seasons. He got cast in Guardians of the Galaxy in between the seasons, and he lost all this crazy weight. And he talks about anybody who has a goal in 6 months, you can do what I did, and so I think it was I don't know if it was Swanson. They were walking like up the stairs. It was Chris Pratt's character.
It was Adam Scott's character. Yeah.
And he's like, you look great. What did you do? And he goes, I don't know, like stop drinking beer. This is just my recollection. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jesse. Stop drinking beer. Right, and then Adam looks at him and goes, how many beers were you drinking? And he goes, I don't know, 50? Like, that's what I remember him saying. 50 beers a day. Cut that out. You're going to lose weight. Good job.
That's right.
Yeah. That basically is the Daniel fast. Yeah.
Beginning of the fast.
Essentially.
It was hops instead of.
Yeah.
I do also want to mention, so in the video, he quotes a faith leader that he heard at his church, and he can't remember who it is, but I do want to clarify, it is our very own Christine Kane, who we love and adore. So
all right.
I thought that was interesting that he kind of brought in Chris to the Stephen Colbert show, and I'm using that as my transition because it is Women's History Month. We're talking about women, and
So wait. You had it was an interview or a conversation between two men. So you just there's a moment for women. We're going to highlight it because Women's History Month. Got it. Mm-hmm. And then it's a good segue. Yeah. I'm in.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because since we're talking about Women's History Month, it is also March, which we've been talking about March Madness all month. But in case you guys forget, there is a women's tournament happening during March Madness. I feel like we always talk about the men's team, but women are kind of killing it right now. And there's one moment specifically that I want to talk about that's happened this past weekend. And it has to do with TCU star Haley Van Lith. Have you guys heard of her?
Yeah.
So I know the clip because we posted this, obviously. I did not know anybody on TCU. But then when we were pulling images for the post and we typed in her name, she was Angel Reese's teammate on LSU. She was on Louisville. She went from Louisville to LSU championships, and then now she's at TCU and has led them to their first Sweet 16. Yeah, so this girl is she's a superstar. Also, guess what I learned? Dating Orlando Magic guard Jalen Suggs.
And that's your favorite fact about her, I know.
He got her better, is what Cameron's trying to explain.
No,
is that
not
other way around.
Keep that for April.
Sorry.
No, other way around, dude. Like Emily and I did the timeline when they started dating a few years ago is when Jalen got serious about his faith. He is one of the strongest Christians, outspoken guys on the Magic for real.
Yes,
and he wasn't like that a few years ago. So it's like, she's a good influence. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, go ahead. Take it away.
I really think in a way, I do think it is her impact because like Cameron said, we're going to play a clip of something that she said in a post-game interview because we've been talking all year long about all these athletes speaking about faith, and some of them have some really profound things to say. I was really blown away by what she said in this post-game interview last week. Like I really haven't heard many athletes speak like this in an interview. And before I give any more away, I just want us to play the clip.
I got exposed to the media and social media at such a young age. I really struggled with mental health things. When I was younger and in college, I was suicidal. I was heavily medicated, and I felt trapped, and I didn't. And you would never know because I was having a ton of success on the court, but internally and in life in general, like I was ready to be done. And so that's what I mean when I speak on suffering and pain. Is like I didn't even want to live. So like to come from that to this is incredible. And like I've been praying all year. Like, God, I know you've given me this testimony to share it with the world and shed your light. And I think that this is the year and this is the moment that he wants people to know my story and how he's just taken me literally from the depths of wanting to die to this moment of loving life. And even if basketball went away today, I truly would want to be here and love these people. So like that's really my story with God, and he's just so powerful. That's what I mean when I say that he's delivered me from literally the worst suffering ever.
Honestly, hearing that explains a lot about Jalen Suggs. Like just like the impact of this woman on his life. I'm telling you, she's awesome.
Also with Jalen Suggs, his gut biome right now, the stem cells are through the roof.
Never been better.
Coincidence.
Anyway, there she goes.
Maybe she's introducing fasting to him as part of their.
Yeah, we can only presume, but a lot of benefits here.
Well, speaking of Christianity and basketball, that does bring me to the very last thing I want to talk about. I don't know if you guys have seen this on social media. I saw a few videos going around this week talking about the Christian origins of basketball. And at first I thought, this might be a little bit of a stretch, but I did some digging and it turns out it's true. And it's actually been used as a missionary tool.
So it is true that basketball is Jesus' favorite sport, because I already knew that. So I'm glad you got to confirm that. If you're a good Christian, you love basketball is all I'm trying to say. Okay, go ahead. Tell us about it.
Not quite true, but maybe we can end up there.
No, it's true for me. Like, that's what I'm saying is like, that's true for me, that this is God's favorite sport. And anything you say from here on out is going to confirm my worldview. So I'm excited to hear this. Tell us all about it, Emily.
So a lot of us know the origin story with Dr. James Naismith. He grabbed the soccer ball, the peach baskets, created this game with the 13 simple rules, right? But that was actually part of a bigger purpose that he had. Mm-hmm. So he was deeply influenced by this thing called muscular Christianity, which basically believed that sports could be a way to shape spiritual growth and moral character.
Muscular Christianity being in the 1980s called the Power Team. The Power Team, everybody. Muscular Christianity. All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Continue.
a different form of muscular Christianity. No, Naismith, he literally described
Now it's just called Craig Rochelle and Stephen Furtick's Instagram feeds. Muscular Christianity.
Nothing new under the sun.
Tell me about Jesus loving basketball. I want to learn.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm going to stop interrupting I got distracted with Craig Rochelle's physique. All right, here we go.
So Naismith literally described basketball as a tool to, quote, win men for the master through the gym. And so when he was creating this game, he wanted to keep it simple so that anyone could use it as a tool for ministry, no matter where they are in the world. So then missionaries were able to take this game to countries like China and the Philippines, and they would use it to bring young men in to hear the gospel, build community, learn about discipleship, and play basketball, of course.
Because it was at the YMCAs globally, right?
Yes,
so that's why it's about young men. Okay, got it. That's interesting. So they really did do it to like, hey, come learn this new sport, and then let me teach you about Jesus, kind of like a church rec league.
Yeah.
To play in it, you have a little Bible study or prayer time as adjacent to it. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe as y'all are binge watching March Madness this weekend, you can feel a little better about, I don't know, supporting the Great Commission in a way.
See? Football doesn't do that. Football's problematic. Bunch of weird team names that have to be changed. They're insensitive. Basketball, everybody.
Yeah, because basketball, there's never been a controversy.
God's sport. You just told us. Anyway.
I mean, this basketball, I mean, I'll be honest, didn't have much competition. The only other sport in existence at the time was hoop and stick.
Baseball existed.
I was just
in the 1890s? Wait, when
they
did
would have
baseball
really
start?
big bicycles. It was just a different time.
Yeah,
they had one big
giant
wheel.
bicycles and hoops and sticks and medicine balls. That was all they had to play with.
They played the game originally with bears.
All they did
why?
Medicine balls. Just all they did was squat with it. You know, like and they would. Or I guess they would pass it back and forth.
That was the most fun they had
until they saw Arnold Schwarzenegger and they're like, wow, muscles exist. But before that, they were just doing squats. That's all they did.
Yeah.
Underhanded
and jumping
boxing.
jacks. Yeah.
The whole sports program was just a shed full of hoops and sticks, and you just had to go push them down the street with no real point. So this is big.
So if I'm following the trajectory of Relevant Buzz correctly, we started out with it's Lent. People are talking about fasting. New study, fasting is good for your gut. Got it. Mm-hmm. Chris Pratt also learned that and told it to Stephen Colbert. While he was telling it to Stephen Colbert, he quoted Christine Kane. She's a woman. Mm-hmm. Women's basketball is happening during March Madness.
Yep. Keep it going.
March Madness. Haley Van Lith talking about Jesus and mental health. Oh, by the way, did you know during March Madness, basketball is Christian? I love it. That's right. This is good. That's
what it's like to have a conversation with me. I will make the weakest threads to a bunch of different conversations, and you're welcome.
I will say this. I respect it because last week, I mean, you guys all know this. A few days ago, I went and saw the NPR news quiz show, Wait, Don't Tell Me, live. I got to see it live with 3,000 people in a theater. And if you're a nerd, you know the show. It plays on NPR's on Saturdays. And I was fascinated. It's 27 years they've been doing it. Okay. And if you ever listen to the show, it's the host, Peter Sagal, and 3 comedians on the panel. So 4 people. This is 4 of us. And when they banter and they have it is so tight. And it just makes me feel bad about myself that we've been podcasting now 20 years and we require a ton of editing after the fact. I know it sounds like we don't do any work on this show to the listeners, but we do a lot of work on this show. We like clean this up quite a bit.
Decent amount. Don't say a lot.
We spend 3 to 7 business days every episode making this listenable. How's that? No,
whatever.
And what you're hearing is a trimmed down version of 5 hours of recording.
Correct.
Getting down to a tight, listenable
45 minutes.
But here's the thing. Yeah. Here's the thing. So they would do, if you ever listen to it, Peter Sagal, great delivery on these news stories and a perfectly timed banter, no crosstalk.
Paula Poundstone.
Boom, she's telling, And I'm just like, these are pros. Okay. I saw it live, my friends. The recording was an hour and 45 minutes with, little things here and there. Like he would stop and retake something real quick, a few seconds here and there. You're like, okay, they do a little editing or whatever. Hour and 45 minutes they recorded. Guess how long the broadcast was? 45 minutes.
Wow.
They cut out an hour of content. So Emily, I am very impressed with your preparation and delivery of Relevant Buzz this week. It was wait, don't tell me-esque. So kudos. Kudos to you.
I did it.
So anyway, by the way,
that was a really long way to give me a compliment.
It's all what I've learned about wait, don't tell me is just like Instagram filters. It's all fake. It's like it is not as good as you think it is. It's great, but it's not nearly as polished and perfect as they make it seem. So.
It's like seeing improv. They know what they're doing. They kind of have like the idea. They just, use the same format for everything. It makes sense.
Dude, I will say this, the show was way funnier in its live form than it was in its
That's awesome.
I'm sure.
very cut down, tight radio form. I mean, it was hilarious.
Did they know that they were walking a tightrope with the net here? Like they could do some, they know they could say something a little outrageous and NPR would cut it if 100%. Too hot for public radio.
Here's the thing. Paula Poundstone is the queen of callbacks. So she said something 2 different times during the show, she said something deeply inappropriate that absolutely broke the room, but she knew wouldn't make it on the radio. Well, to screw with the editors, she kept calling back to it, like throughout the show.
Editors love that kind of stuff.
You could see just steam coming off of them. They're in the corner of the stage, just angry over there. No, but it was great. She told a story. She lived in Orlando for 3 months. So she's telling the Orlando audience, hey, I was a resident here for 3 months when I was 18 years old.
That's an odd window of time to live in a city.
She said she moved to Orlando because she literally went to audition. She wanted to try out to become Goofy at Disney World and did not get the gig. So she ended up having to take a job as a server at an overnight shift at IHOP on South OBT. And if you've ever been to Orlando, that's where all the prostitutes are. No joke. Oh. So she didn't know Orlando, got an apartment close to the bus station, and she said she didn't have a car. Every night her shift was 11 to 7 at IHOP. She walked 2 miles through South OBT to go to her shift.
In a Goofy suit.
Method actor. Method actor. So she said, literally, I thought it was hot. She said this to the audience. She goes, I thought it was safe because there was a lot of single women walking around that time of night.
Oh.
So she said there was this one time where a man pulled over and offered her a ride. She would always refuse it. But then one night she was running a little late. She said, okay. She gets into his car, South OBT, and says, let's go to the IHOP. He starts to drive away. He reaches over and touches her knee. She quickly realizes what's going on here and jumps out of a moving car. This is the story she told. And she said, I left the city the next day. She's like, I was like, I can't handle living in Orlando, Florida on South OBT. And so, of course, she tells this story. The crowd's like eating it up. And then she references throughout the show, whenever a guest would come on, a caller would call in, she would say things like, well, I was temporarily a hooker. Like she would say little things like that, which completely screw up the edit. So it's hilarious. I loved it. It was great seeing it live. If you ever get the chance to go see it, go see it.
When will it air? Do you know? Did they tell you?
Yeah, we saw it on Thursday night. They aired on Saturday, 2 days later.
Yeah.
The guest was Orlando Magic Center, Mo Wagner, which I was worried about because he's German. English is his second language. Yeah. He was hilarious. Great, witty, great guy. Anyway, go listen to it.
Did she explain why her lifelong goal was to be Goofy?
She was 18 and she wanted to be a performer and it just seemed fun.
But Goofy? Like of all the characters?
She's taller. I don't know. Maybe there's a height thing. I don't know.
I think maybe she was just like calculated odds. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to go out for Mickey or Minnie or Donald Duck. Like
no one's going for Goofy.
Nobody's going for Goofy.
It's like I'll
just get it. Yeah,
and then I'll work my way up.
I'm going to learn. Yeah, it's like I'm going to learn bass guitar. That way, if there's a spot in the band, I know the other spots are taken. The bass players, that's the entry point here.
I'll tell my son who plays bass that.
He knows.
He did just buy an electric guitar and an acoustic guitar, so he is expanding his repertoire at this point. Yes. Anyway,
if anyone told me that they auditioned for Goofy and didn't get it, that might be one of the saddest stories I've ever heard.
No, the saddest story is you audition for Goofy and you don't get it and you temporarily become a hooker. That's the saddest story.
Oh. You're right. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Paula told the saddest story I've ever heard.
There's an episode
that sounds like an A24 movie.
Yeah. So they're actually, what's funny
is
like
the Florida Project.
It is. And it was set in that area. Oh my gosh.
It's like Nora meets that.
If it went bad,
Project,
what would happen?
Yeah. Oh no. Oh my gosh. Anyway.
From Oscar-winning filmmakers from the studio that brought you. Yeah.
It worked out for her. It's fine.
They came to
a sad
Florida
Goofy
with dreams
movie.
of being Goofy, and this is
dreams of being Goofy ended up being a temporary hooker. Yeah. Okay. That'll do it for Relevant Buzz. Make sure to check out relevantmagazine.com every day, where we are posting a lot of stories like that and just other sports trivia, sports history trivia.
Yeah, I'm in my sports era, so
loving that.
I told my friends in our March Madness group chat to call me Sporty Spice, because for 2 days, guys, I was number 1. Currently down to number 12 because the vibes were a little off, but I think I can get back to number 1.
I thought of a name for the A24 film. Gouache.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Because that's also what she yelled as she jumped out of the moving vehicle to get away from the guy with bad intentions. So
A24 proudly presents Gouache, the story of heartbreak.
The Paula Poundstone story.
Gouache. I can see like the poster too. It's like just says Gouache and like, just straight up font with like that lens flare that all their movies poster have. Yeah. And it's like the silhouette of a Goofy mask, like just
on
in the
ground.
background.
Yeah.
Kind of beaten, tattered.
Her underneath a streetlight.
Yeah. Just holding the head of Goofy. Looking down.
A sad story from the happiest place on earth.
Oh, that's a great tag.
Oh, that's good. That's good. All right, stay tuned. Up next, Aloe Blacc joins us. This episode is brought to you by a new book from Harper Horizon, The Church of Living Dangerously, the unbelievable true story of John Bishop, former megachurch pastor and drug runner for the Sinaloa cartel. To learn more about this harrowing ride filled with guns, Jesus, drugs, and redemption, visit churchoflivingdangerously.com. Well, today's podcast is brought to you by 10 by 10. Mentoring the next generation matters, but it can feel overwhelming. That's why 10 by 10 created Next Gen Simple Mentoring, a free turnkey resource for adults who care about young people's faith. It helps you build on relationships you already have. Teens need mentors need training, and you need Next Gen Simple Mentoring. Get your free toolkit at simplementoring.org today. It's good for young people, good for adults, and good for communities. Well, today on the show, we're joined by Aloe Blacc. He's an amazing R&B artist who's been around for many years and making great music. But beyond that, you might not know he's also a philanthropic leader. Last month, he released his latest album, Stand Together, which is comprised of 12 songs that are each tied to a different nonprofit organization. He talks to Emily about his charitable partnerships with these organizations and why he feels like it's his responsibility to give back to the community. Here is Aloe Blacc.
God made my mold different from the rest. Then he broke that mold, so I know I'm blessed. Stand up now and face the sun. Won't hide my tail or turn and run. It's time to do what must be done. Be a king when kingdom comes. Well, you can tell everybody. Yeah, you can tell everybody. Go ahead and tell everybody. I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. Well, you can
Okay, we are here to talk about your album Stand Together, which dropped last month, which congratulations on that. How does it feel to finally have it out there?
It feels really good to finally have the album out. I'm so happy with the music, with the songs, with the messages, and with the intention. You know, this is a long time coming, a concept that I think was born in many conversations, and a little bit just from my wife, who is the consummate artist, but specifically only for message music. She has written songs and recorded in honor and in amplification, in celebration of positive social missions. And so this album, Stand Together, is an album full of songs that amplify positive social missions and amazing nonprofit organizations.
Yeah. How long have you been working on this? Because this seems like a big project to put together.
I first encountered the Stand Together organization maybe 3 years ago. It was during the pandemic. And the idea started formulating maybe after a couple of years. So Stand Together is an organization that is working with and supporting the biggest, community change makers out there. And through their network, they're able to raise funds and sponsor nonprofit organizations. And I just thought, you guys are doing amazing work. More people should know about you so that they can get involved and invest. Well, the word invest really means donate. And I said, how about I create some songs inspired by the nonprofit organizations that are part of this, this mission. And it started with one, then went to another, and eventually built an entire album out of it.
How did you decide which organizations you wanted to write a song about or a song for?
There were a few that I had an opportunity to visit directly and meet with and see the work that they were doing. And that was before the concept of the album came. It was just me trying to use my influence and celebrity to amplify the work that these organizations were doing. And it only goes so far, right? A social media post, a repost on Twitter or Instagram, a shout out online, maybe a performance at a fundraiser or a gala. These things only go so far. And I thought, my expertise isn't tweets and Instagram posts. My expertise is songwriting. So after visiting Cafe Momentum, and after visiting, Cafe Momentum is an organization that supports system-affected youth who have, for whatever reasons, been involved in the carceral system, the juvenile system. It helps them find work, employment, and housing, and education. Gets them through high school if they need it, gets them into college if they need it. So that was one of the organizations I visited. I visited another organization called Bonton Farms, which works at the intersection of community development, entrepreneurship, and organic farming, urban farming. It was an experiment in humanity, really, just transforming an underserved, under-recognized community that had no real upward mobility, no jobs, and used vacant lots, turned them into urban farms, gave work to the local community members to work on the farm, turn that into a restaurant and a cafe. So, just recognizing amazing concepts that I think should be translated across every city in the US, if not the world. Great lessons in how we can stand together, how we can come together and do better. That's how I chose because I had a chance to visit and see the real work that these organizations were doing.
How do you take a concept or a nonprofit and turn it into a song? How do you creatively get to that place?
Well, okay, so there's a nonprofit called Breakthrough. Great name for a nonprofit, makes for a great name for a song. my style of music is, well, I don't know that there's a genre style. It's more thematic. I call it AIM. It stands for Affirmation, Inspiration, and Motivation. I want to make the songs that can be the soundtrack to you living your best life, songs that can motivate you through the most trying of adversities. This organization called Breakthrough made for a great title, great song, and I just needed a story. And so I started talking to the founder of the organization about who are the participants, who are the people that are being served by this organization. This is an anti-recidivism organization, one that helps returning citizens who have been in prison, who served their time, paid their debt to society, and are ready to return into their communities. It helps them to understand where they're going back into. Some of them have been in prison for a decade. Lots of things change in a decade. Laws change, technology changes, communities change. And so the organization wants to help position these people who've paid their debt to society in the best way so that when they return, they can thrive and not fall into the same traps that get them locked up again. And that kind of story, to me, sounds like more than a story about someone who has served time in prison. It sounds like a story of redemption and a story of breaking through barriers. And so I wrote about, and from the position of an individual who recognizes that they have to make changes in their life. So when you ask, how do I go about it? A lot of times it's just trying to glean from the story to make the song broad enough that if you didn't know specifically what it was about, it could still apply to your life, but making it specific enough so that the people who are directly related to the inspiration of the song can hear their stories in it.
I love how you really immersed yourself with these organizations, and you spent a lot of time clearly getting to know them and partnering with them. What did you learn yourself while creating this album?
Wow. I learned that it is not impossible to make something that is fun and substantive at the same time. A lot of my peers will probably err on the side of fun without the substance, and some of my peers will err on the side of substance but no fun. And my goal ultimately is to amplify, and one of the best amplifiers is fun. If you're having fun with anything, you're going to want to share that. It's really hard to keep fun to yourself. And so I try to make these songs as fun as possible. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they are all, danceable, celebratory songs. I just mean fun, that this is a toy that you can play with in your conscience, in your conscious waking life, and in your subconscious. And it should be fun all the time, and you should want to share it with somebody.
It's interesting that that's your takeaway, because I would feel like when I think about your career, I see how you've always sort of integrated fun and music with a deeper purpose. And you've done a phenomenal job at that. And I wanted to ask, why are you so passionate about intertwining music with purpose?
Wow. I think I'm passionate because I'm fortunate. I'm lucky enough to wake up in the morning and write songs that could potentially make people smile. And with that, I want to honor the privilege that I have by offering some people a little respite from, maybe the monotony or the calamity within their lives. My parents were both long time servants of the people. My dad was in the Marine Corps for 30 years. My mom worked in the municipal courthouse for almost 30 years. It just feels like the way to be, to use my skills, my talents, my time for the greater good.
I love your perspective of music as service. I think that's a really very noble view to have. I would love to hear from you. Why do you think music is something that connects with people in a really deep way?
I mean, there's so many ways I can answer this question, but ultimately, music is a playground that you can engage anywhere, anytime. It's not like film where you have to be sitting in front of a screen. It is not like a board game where you have to be sitting, working with someone else and it is something that you can literally play with at any moment of the day. And maybe that's monodimensional. The three-dimensional part of it is you can play with other people, and you don't have to be the person playing the music to have that joy or that experience. You can be the person just absorbing and receiving and observing, that's the short answer. Longer answer is all kinds of anthropological and scientific and biological stuff, but
yeah.
If I crash, I don't care. I'm gonna do it my way. I can make it through this. You can throw the world in my face, but the fear gives me life, and I swear till I die, I'm gonna do it my way.
That was Aloe Blacc. Make sure to check out his new album, Stand Together. It's out now. All right, stay tuned. Up next, it's Ask the Cast. Looking to take your Bible study to the next level? Check out Life Bible, the app packed with devotionals, in-depth commentaries, and guided reading plans to help you stay on track. Quickly find notes on specific verses and explore scripture like never before. For a limited time, Relevant Podcast listeners get a free month of the Life Application Study Bible, featuring verse-by-verse insights, character studies, and practical applications, all conveniently located inside the app. Download Life Bible today at tbibles.com/relevantpodcast and start your free month. Again, that's download the Life Bible app today at tbibles.com/relevantpodcast and start your free month. Okay, we hit you up on the new Relevant Podcast Instagram account. We posted in our story. We asked you for some Ask the Cast AMAs. You hit us up, and here's some of the questions you guys sent in.
Ask the cast anything you want, and we'll use our brains to answer.
Katie Murray is asking, what's the most ridiculous thing you've done to get out of an awkward social situation? Paula Poundstone jumped out of a moving vehicle.
Yeah, I jumped out of a moving vehicle wearing a Goofy costume one time. By the way, how'd you like to be driving behind that car when Goofy jumps out and just starts
rolling and running away, screaming "Garsh"? Yeah.
Garsh.
Anyway, what about you all? What do you guys do? Have you done anything to get out of an awkward social situation?
I'm trying in college, in front of the student center. I remember whenever people would have organizations would have people trying to get you to sign up for stuff or buy whatever. It wasn't really awkward, but I would always immediately get a phone call as I was starting to walk there, and just would fake a phone call while I was walking through that, so people wouldn't talk to me.
I've faked phone calls before.
100%.
I've held the phone up, and
Oh yeah, I mean that's a go-to move.
What do you mean I didn't get the part for Goofy? What?
Dude, I've spotted acquaintances across Publix and got my phone out too before they could see me. I'm already on the call. Yeah, I'm all the time.
Yeah, I feel like I always have that experience when I walk in the mall and the guy's like, "Hey, do you want me to clean your shoes?" And I'm like, "No,
dude.
Like these are." I always had to think of some weird excuse to give them.
Is that everywhere? Yeah. I thought it was just
everywhere.
Here.
It's a kiosk.
Oh, that's everywhere. They're like, "Hey, man, can I clean your shoes for you?" And I'm like, "No, I have, these aren't even real legs. Like, just keep walking."
The trajectory of awkwardness, though, I feel like if mall kiosk awkwardness, shoe shine, sneaker cleaner,
Dead Sea
sneaker
lotions,
Dead Sea lotions number one because they straight up grab your hand as you're walking by.
They'll put stuff on you.
Wait, what?
Yeah, but. Yeah, the Dead Sea lotion people.
I don't know. I do a wide berth. If I see kiosks, I do a wide berth. The only reason I've interacted with this sneaker cleaner guy is he knows the wide berth move, and he wanders away from his kiosk to catch you on the outer rim. Like, I feel like the lotion people have to stay closer to home.
I'll say the other one is the people who buzz you with the little helicopters. And I'll say this: it's very annoying, but I bought like 6 of them.
That was pretty cool. Let me grab one of those. Yeah. All right. Vanessa Miller asked, if you were cast in a reality show, which one would it be? And if it was a competition show, how far would you make it? I'm going Survivor. I want to be on Survivor.
Okay, but how far would you make it?
I would. I've watched enough Survivor. I know the move. You don't want to be the leader. You don't want to be the weakest. You want to be straight up in the middle of the pack, friends with everybody, and then you can at least make it, hopefully, to the merge. So I would suppress all opinions, and I would keep my mouth shut and just smile and go with the flow. And so I think I could get halfway through. That's my guess.
They call it the hide in the bushes method. It's like when you play like LARPing and everyone's killing and you're hiding in the bushes, and then you see the king and you're like, "Punk, I win."
I've always wanted to. I'd always wanted to make a pitch at Shark Tank, but I'd want to set myself up with a terrible product and just have to go right on my wits and my charm. A little sneaker cleaner kit and just try to get cubes. I just want 5% cubes. What do we say? I love. I don't know why, but like if Shark Tank is on, I say. I've never ranked them, but I'm doing it right now. Top 5 background shows to just have on in the background. Number 1, The Office, obviously. Number in the top 5, I think, is Shark Tank because you can kind of pop in. I'm kind of interested to see how this did. Oh, they're giving an update. I remember that guy with the toe socks. How'd that work out? The Lobster Brothers, they seem to be doing well. I think it's a top 5 background.
See, I understand where you're coming from. I never could watch it and still can't because it was always on Friday nights, if I recall, when it was like in its heyday. And the last thing I wanted to do after a long week at work was come home and watch more business. That was part of it. And number 2 was it made me really sad for all the entrepreneurs that just like had really bad ideas, and these guys shot straight with them, which they needed to hear the tough love and the feedback. But it was just like, you're watching people like, I've sunk my life savings into this gadget that's just like, you're now bankrupt. Sorry, dude. I just felt rough. So like just my heart, like, A, I didn't want to think about business on my free time. And B, I didn't want to see people's dreams get shattered. Jesse likes seeing dreams get shattered. He likes Scott's tots. So
I would also go, if I'm picking reality shows, Dr. Pimple Popper, because I got this thing right on my hairline, and it's impossible to get a dermatologist appointment. If they could just get a quick look, Doc. I was so pumped when that came out. But then, have you guys watched an episode?
No,
yes. I can never watch that. It's disgusting.
Emily watches the freak TLC shows. Yeah,
it was a TLC show. Of course, I watched it.
Well, because she started off on Instagram, and it was, they were large pimples, but they were, they were pimples you'd want to see popped. Let's say that on social media. As soon as the TV show, these are like basketball sized pimples. These are like goiters.
It's goiters.
Yeah.
That's a goiter.
Like you're seeing them through the shirt type thing.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's not what I signed up for. I just want to see a good normal pimple pop.
It's like you have 3 shoulders. How did that happen here?
Yeah.
With that?
Yeah. Kind of took the fun out of it,
Going back to the question, I think I would want to be on Pop Culture Jeopardy, which I did apply for when it came out last year. But you have to do it as a team. And so my 2 friends that I picked to do the team with, I think the 3 of us our pop culture knowledge is similar. What we should have done, or what I should have done, was found someone who could round out
let me be a part of it, because I feel like I have played those games. I have played the game. I played them on, it's stupid, but I've played them on like cruises and all these different, and I've never lost. I swear to God. There's video of me
Marty, you're on the
like
team.
Royal Caribbean. There's video of me on like the Princess Cruise, and I win every single time.
I actually
have a problem.
The three of you would be a great team because you come from different edges of the internet.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like we need a widespread, specifically sports, because like I don't know if you ever auditioned or like tried out for Jeopardy, but you do like an online quiz, and I know for a fact I got pretty much all the sports questions wrong. So I had a sports person on my team to round out. We're taking home that $1 billion or $1 million. I don't know how much it is, but we're taking home
my
the prize.
blind spot when watching it is definitely like the TikTok. There's a lot of TikTok questions on Pop Culture Jeopardy,
and I got you on that one. Okay,
and Marty. I mean, like,
yeah. Simpsons questions, I'll get those.
There we go. Yeah.
I'll get the TV ones.
I watch a lot of with Cohen, like while I'm making dinner, whatever, I'll throw on a Celebrity Jeopardy. Super breezy, easy. And like to the point that like I'm making dinner and I'm just answering every question. Like Cohen's like, you need to like go on Celebrity Jeopardy. This is crazy. I go, why wouldn't I would have to go on regular Jeopardy? And so he builds me up enough.
I would have to become a celebrity first.
Yeah. It's a long road.
But once I get that,
I'm applying for the Goofy opening next week, and that's my on-ramp. But anyway, so I get super confident answering 95% of the Celebrity Jeopardy questions correctly. I'm like, man, Jeopardy's nothing. The other night, I threw on a real Jeopardy. I felt like the biggest idiot in the world. Like the way they dumb it down for celebrities is insane. So never mind. You won't see
the way they dumb it down for Aziz Ansari. It's just different than
Paula Poundstone.
Like Pop Culture Jeopardy. I think you could do on Pop Culture. I don't know if you've watched any of the episodes, but they are, to me, they're easy. Like I was getting a lot of the questions right, but again, they're all pop culture, so easier for me to remember. Yeah.
All right. Brittany West, she must have been listening at the beginning of the show because she actually wrote in. She said, "What's your personal go-to hype song when you need to feel unstoppable?"
I told you guys, right? It's a John Cena song.
Right.
I have video of me. I just walk in a room.
Yeah, mine is the national anthem of any country. Just inspiring.
The national anthem, not the Canadian one. That's a rough listen. There's no way
of any country, because I think about the athletes that are representing it, and I just put myself in their shoes.
I don't know, man. The Olympics medal ceremonies, it's just like, ooh, as bad as ours is, we have a really good anthem compared to like Slovenia. It's like a 12-minute orchestra. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway,
they're very operatic in other countries. You know.
Christina Moore wrote in and said, "What's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you on stage?" Specifically asking Marty and Derek. So, Marty,
I mean, the amount of pants I've ripped on stage.
You're kidding.
Like first song.
No.
Yeah. There was okay. So the first one that comes to mind, I think it was it was a friends and family tour. And I had, like one thing about me is I don't really buy new clothes frequently. I like to wear whatever I have. And I have it for years. Like this shirt I've had for
Sustainable
like 5
King.
years.
We love it.
Yes. And so I had a pair of like pants. I forgot what brand they were, but they were like very, very popular at the time. This had to be like, 5 years ago. And as soon as I went in, I was walking up the stage. I must have did too much of a extension, but I remember ripping the side of my pants. And then the funniest part about it is that my same thing had always happened to my DJ, and he would always rip it like even worse. And so there was just so many times.
What's he doing to rip his pants? You're jumping and kicking. What's he doing? He's a DJ.
Okay. He would DJ the whole show.
He's standing behind a table.
One time, his name is Ray Rock, is a guy that we all love. There was one time where he got so hyped up on stage that he dislocated his shoulder. And so we're in the middle of performing.
was he fist pumping so aggressively?
I don't know. He just did this, and it just, you know how we're just getting older. We're like, we're in 30s now, things change. And he dislocated his shoulder. So I hear in the back, because there's like this gym door that's like a metal pushing door. And I hear this in the middle of the set, I hear boom. And I'm like, what? Our DJ's gone. And then I just see him walk back on stage. He had popped it back in by running into the wall, into the door. And so, I've ripped my boxers. I mean, there's been times where I've had a change in the middle of my set, and I was like, I'd pull Fern aside, like, hey, can you keep talking for 5 minutes? I'm going to go change my clothes and come back. And then you have to tell the crowd. You got to be like, hey guys, obviously somebody saw something here. And or there's been times where I think with Passion, I did a thing with Crowder once, and what's on video, my zipper was down the entire time. I had no clue. And they luckily didn't incorporate any of those in the shot of the final music video that has like 1 million views, but I had my zipper down the entire time. And there was a kid who kept pointing it out, and I kept thinking he was pointing at me, but he wasn't pointing at me. He was pointing at me, but
okay. Laura Jenkins prefaced this with, you guys Google a lot of stuff during the recordings, little rabbit trails and things like that. So she asked, what's the strangest thing you've ever Googled? I will acknowledge that that's going to be an impossible question to answer. So maybe the better question is, what's the strangest internet wormhole you've kind of gone down in recently that you can recall?
Let me go through my history of my, because I go through them every single day.
Y'all are the biggest weird Googlers I could ever know. So I know it's kind of an impossible.
Yeah, I mean, my whole Google is I feel like pretty weird.
When I watch a movie, I'm going through the actors list. There's so many things that I'm doing that it's just.
I'm with Marty on that one. Like when I'm watching a show, I'm looking at Wikipedia, IMDb, and I'm clicking on all the links, trying to figure stuff out. So this week I finally started.
Streamers, like, you can just pause or like hit a down button and like all the scene information will pop up and the people who are in it and all that stuff. No?
Well, it'll tell me who it is, but I need to know their entire backstory.
Gotcha.
So doesn't give me the information I need. So as Cameron knows, I started watching Yellowstone this week for the first time. It is very good. I hate to admit it because I've been holding out for a long time. Not because I didn't think it would be good. I just wasn't in the mood for a cowboy drama, and now I guess I am. But
cowboy soap opera.
Anyways, cowboy soap opera. And so I was obviously looking up deep histories on all of the cast and figuring out stuff, and just shocked to find that one of the actresses is British, and she does a great Montana accent.
Dutton,
so
the daughter,
Beth Dutton,
Okay, hold on, Emily. Hold your horses right now.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, because I just saw. This is stupid. Yeah, hold your horses right now. Okay, because I just saw Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, amazing!
And she's in the movie. That was my wormhole. So me and my wife, we try to show each other movies all the time. One of my favorite movies is Little Women, the Greta Gerwig one.
Yeah,
the OG version with like Winona Ryder is not as good. It's
fine.
One, it's okay. It does the book.
I watch the Greta Gerwig one every Christmas.
Yes, I actually watch it like once every quarter. So anyway, so my wife's like, you like this, you're going to like Pride and Prejudice. And I'm like, all right, here we go. I loved it. It was so good. But Beth Dutton is in the show. And I was like, who is this girl? She looks so different in this movie. And then also the guy from Succession is in it, which is also weird because he's like the main character. And I don't know. But those wormholes always start with a movie and then I end up, and then we actually saw Yellowstone right after. So
I was going to say mine, I just saw it on my Netflix style, that Kate Hudson show where she runs basketball.
Yeah, Running Point. Yeah.
And I was like, I wonder how old, because she seems to be like a Jeannie Buss. Like,
Jeannie Buss is a producer on the show.
And I was like, how old is Jeannie Buss? Jeannie Buss is like 20 years older than Kate Hudson.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How old's Kate Hudson?
In her 40s, mid
45.
Yeah, 45.
Yeah.
Kate Hudson's in her mid 40s.
Okay, you said something there, though, Marty, that got me thinking. You said one of your favorite movies is Pride and Prejudice and Little Women and stuff. That surprises me.
Yeah, Little Women.
What's y'all's unexpected kind of favorite show or movie? Because Emily knows this. My son, 15-year-old, he was with his mom last weekend, and he texted me, and he goes, "Hey, me and some of my friends watched Interstellar tonight, and it was incredible." And I was like, "Oh yeah, Christopher Nolan, heck yeah! Oh, you're at that age now, sweet, kind of thing."
That's cool.
And he goes, "It's a top 3 live action movie for me." And I go, "What are your other top 2?" And he goes, "Well, The Batman," which I knew.
Cool, that's great.
And he said, "Marriage Story." And I'm like,
your son is very.
I was like, when are you watching Marriage Story? First of all, and then he goes, no, wait. Well, Marriage Story and La La Land would be tied, maybe. And I'm like,
wow.
How old are you?
He has a sensitive heart. But why are you watching? Like, Adam Driver was amazing in Marriage Story, but like, it's a slow,
it's so
heavy divorce and like, oh my! I just saw my kid totally differently. I was surprised that he loved Marriage Story. What's a movie that y'all love, like Little Women, that would surprise us?
I don't know if it would surprise people, but whenever I'm on an airplane, I was flying recently, as listeners know, I always rewatch Die Hard because it's always available and it's reliable.
That is the most predictable answer, not an unexpected answer for Jesse Carey.
I don't know when the last time you guys watched it. Scene to scene, it holds up. Every part of it.
I've actually never seen Die Hard, ever. My entire life, I've never seen it. I know. I saw your face. I haven't
seen it either, so I'm glad you admitted it, Marty.
I saw it like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I don't know.
It's fired up again. And
I
you're
have
like,
to.
wow.
I'm going to see it.
Once y'all watch Little Women, I'll watch Die Hard. We'll trade.
Yeah. But it's my airplane go-to. And I see people around like, I should have watched Die Hard. But like, I can see them looking. You know how you see people watching your screen when they walk by? They're like, darn it, should have watched it. That's really good.
You know, it's interesting you emphasize it holds up because a lot of late 80s and up to mid 90s movies just don't hold up. Cinematography has evolved. The way it's edited has evolved. Acting is a little ham-fisted. The color is just odd. There are a handful, though, that hold up. So I'm going, I like Tombstone I rewatched recently.
Love that movie.
Holds up. I was afraid to watch it because I thought this is better in my memory than it is in real life. No, totally holds up. It's fantastic.
So good. One of the best movies ever.
Dead Poet Society holds up.
Another one of my favorites, Devil Wears Prada.
That's the 2000s.
For sure. I love that movie.
That's the 2000s.
So I'm just saying, like, movies that you wouldn't expect, but that's my go-to on the plane. I'm going to watch Devil Wears Prada.
Are you serious?
It's a good one.
Oh, I love that movie. Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
Do not say a bad word against Devil Wears Prada.
It was a magazine movie. I loved it. What are you talking about?
Okay,
I can't wait for part 2.
I think My Unexpected Movie, solely because it is kind of a sports movie. I really love the movie Everybody Wants Some, which was like a 2016 Richard Linklater movie about a basketball team.
Baseball,
team in Texas in the 80s. I love that movie. It's like a top 10 movie for me.
I gotta check it out.
That shocks me. I've never heard of it. A, and it's a sports movie. B, that's crazy.
Very good. Check the ratings, just so you know. But like, it's Richard Linklater.
If you want to watch a baseball movie, Emily, watch Field of Dreams, 80s. That holds up. It's
no, I will say there's only like one baseball scene in the movie, but that's enough for me.
Watch Moneyball.
It's kind of it was marketed as Moneyball is great. It was marketed as like the spiritual sequel to Dazed and Confused. So if you like Dazed and Confused, you'll like.
Because Richard Linklater played college baseball.
Yes. In Texas.
Let's check that one out.
There you go. All right. Well, that'll do it for
Ask the cast anything you want, and we'll use our brains to answer.
Well, thanks again to Aloe Blacc for joining us today. Make sure to check out Stand Together. It's available now. And if you support it, then you're supporting great charitable organizations. So look at that. You win two ways. You win by getting great music and also feeling good about yourself, helping that music help other organizations. Look at you. All right. Make sure to check out relevantmagazine.com. Issue 116 with Nate Bargatze is there. You can read it for free. Just click on the magazine tab. We are posting amazing content every day. You don't miss it. You can sign up for our newsletter where you get our best stories each week sent to you. Also, for the latest, follow us on socials. If you're not part of what's happening over on the Relevant Instagram account, you are missing out. Also, for Relevant Podcast fans, we have a new Relevant Podcast Instagram account. We'll be posting our feedback stuff there, our polls, some behind-the-scenes stuff, some clips, all the things throughout the week to keep you connected to the show. So make sure to follow us on Instagram at Relevant Podcast and at Relevant Magazine. All right, on that note, we'll wrap it up. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Emily Brown.
I'm Marty.
We'll see you next Friday. Have a great week, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Make sure to check out our coverage at the intersection of faith, life, and culture every day at relevantmagazine.com. And while you're there, don't miss our latest digital issue. Issue 116 features Nate Bargatze, Connor Price, and a lot more. And don't forget Relevant Plus. It's the best way to experience our content, including ad-free reading, an ad-free version of this podcast, and more. You can get all the info and sign up at relevantmagazine.com.
We're preaching the virtues of seed faith and seed oils. Stay tuned. Regenerate your intestinal stem cells.
Relevant Podcast Network.